4 years ago, Ann Akers and I presented our first 3 Tomatoes and Glow Beauty Magazine Woman of Purpose Award. It was something we really felt very passionate about creating. And it recognizes inspirational role models who are not defined by age or labels, but are all about living life fully at any age. And as a woman of purpose projects the inner and outer glow that comes from living a fully integrated life of purpose, service, and humanity. And those last 3 words, purpose, service, and humanity, perfectly describe our 4th Woman of Purpose recipient today, who is Liz Abzug. Liz has led a distinguished career as a national public affairs and strategic consultant. She's a college professor at Barnard-Columbia University. She's a lawyer. She's a former political candidate, and she is the daughter of the late Congress member Bella Abzug, who we all know, who worked for Ed Koch in 1974 to propose the earliest version of the Equality Act. Liz's work has spanned many, many fields, including politics, economics, and urban development, and human rights. But I think perhaps her greatest contribution, and I know that it's her greatest passion, was when she founded the Bella Abzug Leadership Institute, called BALI for short, in honor of her late mother in 2005. This incredible nonprofit works with motivated, underrepresented youth throughout New York City and the tri-state area, inspiring, training, and mentoring them to become leaders in creating positive social and economic change, and helping them to develop the confidence and the critical skills that they need to become effective leaders and visionaries for the 21st century. And she uses the signature leadership skills that Congresswoman Bella Abzug used. So before I bring Liz up here, we have a brief video that will give you a little bit of sense of some of BALI's work.
I founded BALI in 2005 as a living legacy to my mother, former Congresswoman Bella Abzug, but also to build on my own work in teaching, inspiring, and empowering the next generation of girls, young women, and gender-expansive youth to grab the mantle of leadership. Very good. Yeah.
A day at BALI consists of workshops and seminars in the morning, where we bring different speakers and mentors to speak to our youth on subjects that help them grow and achieve their goals.
We have weekly after-school programs, which goes throughout the school year, and providing all sorts of workshops in intensive summer program.
We bring speakers on creative writing,
narrative writing,
workshops on conflict resolution, public speaking, and all topics related to their empowerment,
setting goals, and how to create your own goal and how to go after your goal.
We're giving them critical thinking, and then we're giving them the ability to have the courage.
The second part of the day consists of debate labs, where they break out in different groups and they train in debate.
And then we'll do a one-day debate competition, bring kids from around the city, high school mostly, but some middle school together. We bring a contingent to the International Day of the Girls at the UN, which happens every year, October 11th. They're thrilled by it. They get to go into a major set room that's supported by the countries of Canada, Turkey, and Peru, and get to speak before 500 kids, other kids, and adults that come to this summit.
We bring speakers on teen health, whether it's mental health or health or relationships or reproductive health.
We also do these things called self-care Saturdays, usually at Nike headquarters, which they support us all, about different aspects of self-care: self-esteem, self-reflection, spirituality, meditation, and that is a day-long event.
Often, we don't even have permission to ask the question, let alone figure out what the answer is. Can I explore the thoughts that I'm having? And at BALI, the answer is yes.
It's a safe, loving container, but here, we give them that voice, we give them those tools where they can advocate for themselves.
Women like Liz, who have decided that it is important to continue the legacy of her mother, it is important to give back and to train up the next generation. And then she makes it her business to go out and find other voices to come and be a part of that conversation, to point to the girls and say, this is possible. If she can do it, you can do it too. It's a game changer. Liz is living her message, right? She is doing what she's asking the girls to do. Make a difference where you can.
Strong.
I am powerful.
I am ambitious.
I am brave. I am determined.
I am intelligent.
I am a free spirit.
I am fearless.
I am a leader.
I am a mother.
I am Bella.
It now gives me the great privilege of inviting Liz Abzug up here to accept our Woman of Purpose Award. I can't think of a better recipient.
First of all, I have to thank from the bottom of my heart Cheryl Benton, who, as you know, is the founder of Three Tomatoes and the Three Tomatoes Book Publishing Company, who brought you all here today, along with Ann Akers, who also is a co-host today, and the health beauty editor of Three Tomatoes and the founder editor of Glow magazine. Give them my hand. You know, we live in a multicultural, multi-racial, complex world. The kids that we train, middle school, high school, and college young women, represent all cultures, all races, ethnicities, religions, and because I was lucky to grow up at the ringside, really true, of my mother's work as a congresswoman, as a leading feminist of the 20th century, as a tactical, strategic lawyer, as a humanist, I, was lucky to have that ingrained. Also, my father, who was an early feminist. And my own work, I knew it was really important to pass on the skills and the dynamism and the passion, compassion, and the commitment of the kind of things that Bella Abzug did as a congresswoman, as a leader, and with all due modesty, my own work, hard work. Over the years as a feminist and as an activist and as someone who's been involved in several communities, and I wanted to bring this to our current generation of young people, young women, mostly young women of color, who come from low-income families or single-headed households, and who are amazingly ambitious and committed and need the access to the skills that we provide them. I brought today only with me, not the kids, because the kids are in high school, a lot of our girls. Usually we try to gather them up, but it's getting to be the end of the school year. I have my deputy here, who you saw on the video, Oriella Ballier, who's been with us for 10 years. And I wanted to bring some of my other staff, but again, they're all deployed in the schools right now. So what I want to say is every one of you in this room, whether you are a mother, an aunt, whether you don't have children, whether you're involved in community, whether you're involved in health or beauty or the professions, each of you have something to share to help guide the current and the next generation of young women. And by the way, last year, 2 years ago, we brought in our first young boys and young men to train, because we are a 98% women-focused, young women, girls-focused program, and we are going to keep it that way, because it's been my observation and our board of directors, and because of my soul of what my work is, I am interested in empowering the girls and young women, as is my staff, but also we know that boys, and I saw a few men in here, boys and young men have to be part of this. We are, 50-50 in the world. We're a few more women than men in the world. But young boys and young men need to be feminists themselves and need to join together. And we've had 13-year-old, 14-year-old boys come into the program, and we have applicants this year. We have 250 for our summer program, who said, Liz, I guess I have to admit, I really learned a lot here, even with all these girls here. And so what I want to say is, look at us today. Women and girls, but women still have a long way to go to achieve true equality and parity with men. We all know that. In terms of, we've made progress, 25% in the Senate and the House. We've made progress in the corporate world in terms of CEOs, in terms of officers, in terms of the professions. When I went to law school, there were a third of the class are women. When my mother went to Columbia on full scholarship, there were 4 women, all right, 4. Besides, she was the, fourth. And then now it's almost 50% in medical school, even more women in medical school and in law school. And where we fall, and everybody knows this, is in the engineering area, where I have seen in our girls that we have, there's an incredible growth of young women who are into computer sciences and engineering. But my message is, and I'm so thankful, I can't say how much a $10,000 grant, we use every bit of our money to support these young women, who many of them, by the way, one girl, one of my favorites, she came to us and said, Liz and Ori, I got into Princeton, I got into Harvard. Now, she comes from a very low-income family. She's an Indian young woman. And she says, so I went home and told my parents, and they said, what's Princeton? I have another young woman who I love, these are like my kids, who comes to me and says, Liz, we've lived in an apartment that's filled with rats. We've moved like 4 times in the last couple of years. And we finally now have an apartment where there are no rats. And I'm trying to do my work for high school. She was on her way to college, and she said, can you imagine what I have to deal with that? I mean, we try to figure it out, how we're going to treat them almost like pets, but can you imagine? And then we have these, young other women who say, I don't have the money to go to college. Can you help me, find the way and access? And actually, a couple of years ago, we started a college scholarship program, a very small one, from a benefactor who said, I want to support some of your girls for 4 years if they go to college. I will give each of them $20,000 a year for 4 years. I mean, I almost fell off my chair when she said that because, she meant it. And she has been sponsoring, we're now in the 4th year of sponsoring just like 4 kids at a time because she's putting up the big commitment. So I'm asking you as our person who started out this morning with the exercise and empowering you and motivating you, and I know each of you have so much to share, so much to give, and everything in this world is, in the end of the day, it's collective. In the end of the day, it's community building. In the end of the day, it's connection. When I teach the kids how to do public speaking, and I tell them, you must look in the eyes of your audience. You must connect, because in order to make any difference in any way in this world, you have to connect with the people you are trying to lead or be leaders with or be working with, whatever the sector that you're going to be in. So I want to thank, Free Tomatoes and Cheryl and Ann Akers and all the women in the Giving Circle who got together in partnership with She Angels Foundation to give us this award. We're very honored by it. I also want to encourage you, to look further at what we do, but also to encourage you to grab hold of some young people, some young women and girls. And I don't mean just, it could be your family, it could be your own kids, it could be if you're an aunt, it could be if you have no direct family, and try to mentor them. Because you will all agree, particularly now, we are in a very difficult position, United States, in the world. And we're going to have to catch up with a lot of what is happening, which is destructive at the moment, in my opinion, and I'm sure many of your opinions. And before making up what we're happening now in this federal administration, we still had a long way to go. So now we are set back. And the humanity of Americans and the humanity of each of us has to be shown to young people. Because there's no way of creating a positive social society without people having a heart, intelligence, the ability to act, and the ability to translate what we are teaching them in their communities, whether it's Indian, Bangladeshi, and African, American Black, American Jewish. We really have a diverse collection of kids in our program, and I want that. And I want that when we do strive to have low income all the way, young women and girls, but we also have kids who come from middle-income families or some more well-to-do who could well afford to pay for our programs, by the way, which are all given for free to the kids, including, breakfast and lunch. And the reason why is that we, again, are mixed income in this town in particular, and the kids who have no resources are exposed to the kids who really come from middle and upper income, a few families, and vice versa. And so you get my point. We're trying to really expose these girls, all of them, and mentor them. And we mentor our kids from high school through college and into the careers in which they choose, because that's a way in which to keep connection. We've trained over 4,000 young women and girls. We have a big alum network of kids who are just getting into their professions. And I'd love it if some of you mentor, will volunteer to mentor some of our young women. We have offices at Hunter, and they're free. And why are they free? Because Bella was a student there and the head of the student government in the 40s, and the president of Hunter really respected Bella Abzug. And so when I was starting BALI, she said, I'll give you a free office. And by the way, and use of our facilities. And if she hadn't, I don't know if we would have, continued to exist, because 2008, terrible economy. I know I'm taking up time. I'm ready to leave.
No, you're going to stay here. You're going to stay. You're going to stay.
But I want to thank you both, and all of you in the network, She Angels Foundation and Three Tomatoes, for recognizing our work, because it's really hard. This is the 20th year. I had to make my living doing other things, obviously some of the things that Cheryl mentioned, to sort of develop BALI from scratch. And I am a humble person. My mother was a humble person. She was a dynamo, those of you who remember her. But she was a really humble, compassionate woman, as was my father. And so I'm trying to, with my heart, I really worked hard to try to bring this to these kids. I would encourage you to go to our website. We need contributions. I don't want to get into a pitch, but the real reason is to say, I see you. You see me. Oriella is sitting there. She's from Albania, who became an American citizen, 3 years ago. I'm going to embarrass her. But she's into the immigrant community and is a proud representative of that. And I just, from the heart and from my head and from my commitment, I share that and ask you to share that back with our current and next generation. And thank you both.
I think we all agree we need more women like Liz Abzug. Just phenomenal human being. So I'm going to be brief. Perhaps you are familiar with a popular quotation about angels. They say angels are like diamonds. They can't be made. You have to find them. Well, that's exactly how Cheryl and I were introduced to She Angels, which is a California-based not-for-profit that awards grants to a diverse group of grassroots, female-founded charities that meet the needs of women and girls through mentorship, funding, and resources. And I'm going to give you a little information about She Angels. In just 4 years since She Angels was founded, they have awarded over $200,000 in grants through giving circles around the country. And did you know that only 1.8% of all giving in the United States goes to women and girls? Yes. So with that in mind, Cheryl and I officially launched the Three Tomatoes and Glow Magazine Giving Circle last August. And with your help, which is deeply appreciated, we have raised over $10,000 to date. So with that $10,000, and thank you again for everybody that's been part of this, with your thoughts and whatever you are able to do. So with that $10,000, we've been able to award 2 grants, typically $5,000 each, with 100% to the charity. The first grantee was the Bella Abzug Institute. So $5,000 was presented in January, and with a matching grant offered by She Angels, we will be presenting a check today, a big check of $10,000. Our second grantee was given to Deborah Konisberg. I don't know if Deborah is here today, but Deborah Konisberg is the amazing founder of Hearts of Gold, whose not-for-profit helps get women and children out of shelters, and over the years has helped thousands reimagine their lives here in New York City. A $5,000 grant was presented to Deborah recently at her Vintage Boutique, where members of the Giving Circle spent time with Deborah, and we have formed bonds that will extend well beyond the circle, which is, one of the reasons that we do this, to be able to meet these amazing women and then to carry on the work in individual ways. So that grassroots magic of the Giving Circles is summed up by Margaret Mead, who said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." So if you want to learn more about the Giving Circles, we have a She Angels booth here on the second floor, and you will meet Jill and some of the wonderful women from California to learn how you can be part of this. So will Sabrina and Jill come to the stage?
Oh, and now Carla too. And Carla. Okay. So I know, Liz, you've already received the funds.
Yes.
But we want to officially present you with the official check-in check